there, Retro Gamers. David here with Game Overcast, another exciting episode. This is episode number 5 of this new format. So thank you for watching. Thanks for sticking with us, and we're excited to make it 5 full episodes into this new series. I know that's not a huge accomplishment, but I'm pretty happy about it. It's good for me. Today is the beginning of Halloween weekend, and so this is our official Halloween episode. And as you can see, we have absolutely nothing Halloween related here, and that's, I guess, part that I don't really, plan ahead that much for these. But also, we don't really have a lot of Halloween decorations here in the back room, so I meant to actually grab at least a Halloween bucket of candy or something, but I forgot. Sorry. But happy Halloween, everyone. Party safe out there. Wear your masks. This is actually the one time a year when wearing a mask is cool, and nobody will complain about wearing a mask. So enjoy, revel in that one day over the past 2 years where people don't complain about mask use. So Halloween, it's a great time to think about scary games. What are some of your favorite scary games? This is a great chance for some fan feedback. So if you guys want to comment to the video and podcast, let me know what your favorite scary games are. Favorite things to do on Halloween, favorite, video game experiences that maybe made you jump out of your chair, drop the controller, just, that really gave you a fright playing this game. So I'm thinking like Resident Evil, Maniac Mansion, Splatterhouse, Luigi's Mansion, Alien vs. Predator, and Doom, had a lot of jump scares in there. Ghouls and Ghosts and Goblins, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Castlevania, Nightmare on Elm Street. There's a lot of them out there. I bet we could come up with a list of several hundred if we tried. So let me know, what are your favorite Halloween or scary-related video games? We have a great show in store for you today, so thank you again for joining us. We got retro gaming news. We've got some convention updates. We've got a feature interview with my favorite Game Over employee, Tien Phan. He is our district manager, our longest-serving employee besides me in the company, and great guy, so I can't wait to have him on the show in a little bit. We'll talk about some boss battles with my email overload, go over fan feedback from the last show, and more. So it's going to be a great episode. So looking forward to it. So let's go. Woohoo! Level 1. Level 1, current events. What's going on in the world of gaming this week? Nintendo Switch Online, as we've talked about before, and it's still a hot topic online. Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis games, on the system now. They're out. People are playing them. Still complaining about the price, but they're playing them. And now, in addition to the price, they're complaining about glitches and differences between the original games and the emulated games on there. And again, I'm here to say, look, emulation is never 100% perfect. There's always going to be, some glitches in there. And, to me, $50 a year is not crazy. It seems like a lot because it went from 20 to 50. I get it. That's a big jump. But still looking at $50, just over $4 a month to have access to those kind of games that these days, you're going to, if you were to buy an N64, buy all those games, it's several $100s. You could have this service for years and still come out cheaper than buying the actual, stuff. So it's going to have some glitches. It's not perfect, but, it is what it is. And, so the social media haters are just going to hate. And, that stuff's still going on. But I think as time passes, people will be more accepting. Obviously, they'll try and fix the glitches, and we'll just all move on. And they'll keep adding to it, which is what we really want. We want Nintendo to have a powerful online service and a good online service. And so the fact that, people complain about the pricing and people complain about glitches, it just means people care. And that's good. And so in the long run, they want people to care. They want people to want the service. And so they can always tweak the games. They can tweak the pricing from time to time. But the more money and focus and effort they have on it, the better of a product they'll make. And that's the main thing. So that's up. Also, a new game coming out soon, Mario Party Superstars, which is a cool Switch game that... the reason I'm mentioning on the show is because it actually features a lot of the classic Mario Party boards and levels from N64 and GameCube versions, and really has mini games from the entire series on there. So if you're into the old Mario Party games, that's definitely something you should check out. Plus online play, which is nice. Then next thing I want to mention, Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, up until, I guess, the movie that's coming out next year. But he had been quoted online in several articles being interviewed and talking about being the voice of Mario, and he says that he wants to do it until he drops dead. And so I thought that was a pretty funny way to describe, a job. I mean, I assume I'll probably be doing this until I drop dead, but it's just weird to hear somebody say that I want to drop dead doing a job. So I don't know. And what would happen if he dropped dead? What would the sound like, oh, no, happen? Who knows? But anyway, we love him, and we hope he continues to do it for years and years. So those voices are so iconic now that, it's going to be different with Chris Pratt for sure. But we'll always remember and have those fond, special memories of Charles Martinet doing that voice that just won't be the same once other people start doing it. So anyway, that is it for that. Let's see, other retro gaming news, or rainy news. Not rainy, retro news. Doom is playable on Twitter. Did you know this? It's weird. I saw this online, and I haven't done it yet, but I just saw an article talking about it, and I thought it was just the most bizarre thing. But apparently there's a Twitter handle, tweet2doom, tweet the number 2 doom. And if you go to that Twitter account, you can actually tweet them movements, and then they put it all together each day and run a game of Doom. Crazy. So anyway, something cool to check out when you're bored at work. I mean, at home. Don't do it at work. Then one more thing in retro gaming news, Joe and Mac are coming back. Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja is coming out in 2022. It's going to be on PC and all the current gen consoles, but it has a really cool kind of cartoon animation style. So I thought that looked really cool. I always like those games. I'm a sucker for a good platformer game. So those are it's a cool game coming out next year. They're working on now. So that's it for the news this week, and we're going to go on now to level 2 with some company info. This is going to be company info, events, things that might interest you in the world of retro gaming. So obviously, Game Over stores do their monthly retro tournaments once a month, and that's coming up on November 13th. That's a Saturday, the second Saturday of every month. Normally it's one store in each of our markets. We're not doing the Bellevue store in November, but the San Antonio Selma store, the South Austin store, the 1960 store in Houston, and the store in Arlington will all be doing tournaments on November 13th, and those are free, so come check them out. Just free local tournaments, lots of fun, and you do win prizes if you win. Nationally, a few more conventions coming up. So we've got a retro gaming convention alert update. Let's see. Next up, out of the gate, is going to be the Midwest Gaming Classic. That is November 5th through 7th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We, as Game Over, went there once several years ago. I think at that time we were in a tent outside in Wisconsin in the winter, so it wasn't great. But they've gotten a lot bigger since then, and now it's all indoors with heat included, and so that should be awesome. The Cleveland Gaming Classic, I haven't been to that one yet, but that's November 13th in Cleveland, Ohio. So definitely check that out if you're in the area there. And then same weekend, the 12th through 14th, the Houston Arcade Expo in Houston. Shout out to our friend Keith Christensen, who has worked with us, and we've been there several times in the past, and we love that event. So if you're in the Houston area, definitely check that out that weekend. Again, the events, they're not as many as there used to be, but these are some good ones, and they are coming up, more and more. And as we get into 2022, there'll be much more events to talk about on the show. But that's all we've got for events and upcoming dates. So let's jump into level 3. I'm really excited to get to this. This is an interview with Tien Phan, the Game Over district manager and friend of mine for over 10 years. So let's go on now to level 3. Hey there, Retro Gamers. We are back with the feature segment of the show, level 3. And today I'm really excited to be joined by my friend, Tien Phan, long-term employee of Game Over, 10 plus years, 12? 13.
13 this year.
Because I know him so well. The time has just flown by, hasn't it?
I love you too.
Oh, man. We have been working together a long time, and and Tien is definitely, he's my partner in running this whole thing. And as district manager, he visits all the stores, trains all the employees, and handles a lot of crap, just like I do. So he knows all the ins and outs of Game Over, and I really love and respect him, and I'm happy to have him on the show here. So Tien, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are, what you do, and anything you want to tell.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, since employee reviews are coming up in a couple months, my job is fantastic.
That's true.
I love every aspect of it.
Good timing,
especially my boss.
Yes, thank you.
But in all seriousness, my name is Tien. I'm the district manager and events manager for Game Over Video Games. Was the first store manager, then became the first district manager, and helped develop the events department. And wow, what a ride that Game Over's been! Because it's evolved and changed a lot throughout the years, especially along with the retail industry. And I can definitely say that it's been the hardest, but also the most rewarding job I've ever had. I think David could probably attest to that, because everything that we do, it makes an impact. It matters. It's different from other jobs where you could just kind of be, a number or a cog in the machine, and it just, it doesn't have that meaningfulness, knowing that even just like a simple visit to a store to, talk to a manager and let them know, like, hey, you're doing a good job, or hey, let me help you improve this. Your video game selection is awesome. You've got a lot of really good trades. Like, that can make the difference. And that's what I do. I go around and I supervise our store managers, make sure that they're doing well and their teams are doing well. And if there's any operational issues with the stores, that then I can help them address that kind of stuff. And then I also do our events and conventions. So I book our booths and run our booths. And that in itself is a whole other adventure that we can dive into. Yeah. But all in all,
a lot of people might recognize you from the maybe not so much in the stores. They might see you from time to time zip in and out, or me, but at the events, this is who you're normally seeing at that Game Over booth at a convention.
It's very true. Gosh, I've been doing them 7 years now, 7-8 years. Yeah. And before I got kind of old and scraggly, I used to have like really cool anime looking hair. I looked like a video game character, and so I would be the Game Over guy that was at the booth, or even in the stores. Like I remember when I was a couple of years into working for Game Over Video Games, I was at a grocery store, like at HEB or something, and someone just randomly was like, "Hey, Game Over guy," and I was like, "Hey." Yep. It's probably the hair that makes me stand out a little bit, but I also would like to thank my winning, charming personality as well.
Yeah,
whatever. So yeah, it's always a pleasure to see friendly faces whenever I'm at a convention or in the stores, and like I said, it just kind of goes back to everything that we have built, as a team, as a company. It's very rewarding because I do truly feel like we're unique. Like we are special. Like there's a different feeling that you get when you walk into a Game Over Video Game store, and you're greeted by a friendly employee that likes their job and wants to be there, versus having to have some spiel that is said to every single customer. And the sheer amount of selection that we have, all of the work that we put into like cleaning it and testing it and making sure that it's as good a shape as possible before it hits the customer's hands, like that all, I think, throughout the years we've really shown that that's what we do, and that's important to us, and people resonate with that. So all in all, as with everything, everything has its ups and downs. Nothing's perfect, but it's been an amazing 13 years, and here's 13 more, or 26, or 39. At that point,
man, how old are we gonna be?
At that point, yeah, I'll need a little walker.
Yeah,
but I'll still love it, I'm sure.
Oh. Well, I love that, and yeah, it's truly, and I've said this earlier in the show. It's important to have a job, but it's even more important and more special to have a job that you enjoy. And I definitely have that. Tien has that. We try and, specifically recruit people to work for Game Over stores that actually, want to work here. Not people that just need a job, but people that want to be here, want to be part of this retro gaming community. And that shows, and so, yeah, we have a really great team. And I feel the same way, and that's why Tien does such a good job. He is just like me. I mean, if it wasn't for the hairstyle, you couldn't even tell us apart.
Brother from another
we're
mother.
Practically twins. I mean,
we didn't even plan this.
No, there was no call. We just showed up in this today. But we've been together a long time, and we share a similar vision for Game Over, and that's really important. And yeah, it's been a great journey. So tell me, growing up as a kid, where are you from? What kind of games did you play growing up? Were you a big gamer? What was your childhood gaming like?
Absolutely. So, yeah, a gamer all my life for sure. My first gaming console was the original NES. My dad brought home. Now that I think about it, I honestly had no idea where he got it. I don't know if he bought it or it was just someone gave it to him.
Okay, that sounds weird.
Because he had no interest in it at all. Like he just was like, here's this thing, and it
does stuff.
Yes, exactly. He was like, it's got a thing that has some buttons, and he played with us for an hour, and then never touched it ever again. Yeah. So I can't imagine it was something that he was really interested in. I think it was just something someone gave him. But I was just blown away because. I come from a family of 5, including myself. So I've got an older brother, 2 younger brothers, and my younger sister. And I was the gamer of all of them. My siblings kind of casually played with me, but I was the one after homework every day, I would be on Mario or Contra or Double Dragon. Which Double Dragon 3, it took me until my adult life to actually conquer that game, so screw that game.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I would just love to get lost in the world, and with retro video games specifically, it was always so challenging and having to redo things until you actually got good at it, and be met with that game over screen and start from the beginning and just still have the have the determination to get to the end and see that ending screen, which was literally just a screen with some font, with some text. I mean, today you basically watch a movie when you beat something, and it's super immersive, but yeah,
game over at the end.
Yes, yeah, good job. You good. And then you just started all over again. But there was just something so satisfying when you got there because, it was work. And so, started with the original Nintendo, and then got a Super Nintendo. Again, I don't know how. These things just kind of fell in our laps. I think they were just kind of hand-me-downs from family, friends, or what have you.
So not even birthdays or Christmas?
No.
They would just show up one day?
They would just show up in our house and be like, okay, this is, a new shiny
gaming
thing.
stork came.
Yes, and it was always a fantastic time. When my parents found out that video games were so important to me, they used that as a motivator and a discipline tool for not performing. And what they would do is if I didn't bring home straight A's, they would literally hide the power cord, and that would be devastating for me.
That's neat.
Yeah,
not take the whole machine. They
no,
would just
the power cord, so that I could sadly hold the controller and caress the game still. But I couldn't turn on the system. And then I eventually found the hiding place and snuck some games in there. But I've been playing all my life. I continue to play to this day. I was primarily a Nintendo kid, but then when it came time to choose between the N64 and the PS1, oh man, I saw a trailer for the original Resident Evil game, and I was just like, okay, I need this system. It's so realistic, and I'm going to be terrified, but it'll be worth it. And then kind of shifted over to PlayStation. But now I play a little bit of everything for sure. I put a lot of time in my Switch because I'm traveling for work so much. Got to go visit all these stores on planes and in airports. And no better companion than my Switch. Many thousands of hours into that guy. But I've always been a gamer, and so to be able to work for a place that is so heavily focused on it and its history is amazing.
Yeah, cool. Well, tell me, what do you remember about Game Over in the early days? What was it like 12, 13 years ago? And you were just this innocent part-timer coming in here. Do you have any stories or, memories of that?
Absolutely. I was so naive. No, I'm kidding.
You had no idea you'd be here for 12, 13 years.
No, not at all. Truly, when I saw the Craigslist ad, which that's the thing these days, people forget, there's so many outlets for selling things now and looking for jobs and everything.
Yeah.
Like Craigslist, no one ever talks about anymore.
Yeah, back then Craigslist was everything.
It was everything.
That's how you bought stuff, how you found a job, everything.
Yeah, how you found, a partner, like literally everything. You just, went on there and you just scrolled through all the listings for jobs. And I wasn't even really actively looking for a job. I, at the time, was working for Nordstrom and GameStop.
Yeah.
And I just happened upon an ad for a position at Game Over Video Games. And it was like full-time, like assistant manager. And I hadn't been in a management role yet in my professional career, and so I thought it'd be kind of a cool opportunity to really kind of broaden my horizons and try my hand at management. And so I applied, and coincidentally enough, my manager at GameStop actually used to work for David. And after I interviewed with David, he called him and was like, "Hey, I want to poach this guy. Just want to let you know, like, this is a thing that's going to happen." And that's how this got started.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember at the time it was just the two stores, the North and the South Austin location, and David was running both. And doing everything because he was the only manager.
Yeah.
And he wanted some assistant managers because once you have more than one location, like you definitely have to start like delegating some things. But it wasn't until the third location, the Round Rock store, where David I think needed store managers because he.
Yeah, I think everybody was literally part time until that point. It was just like, I need someone to help me out here. I need someone to help me out here, and then eventually it was like, I need more than just a little help here and there.
Because he would literally try to do everything and wake up at the crack of dawn, like at 6 a.m, to go to every store before they open to take care of all the managerial stuff. And at one point I was like, David, like, you can't keep doing this, man, because he wanted to open more stores. And so I was like, show me how to be a store manager. Show me how to be you. And so I, like I said, I became the first store manager, and then from there, man, it just. What a journey, man, because it was just, on the up and up from there. Like, we were opening locations left and right. I think San Antonio was the first store outside of Austin, and that was huge for us. Even though it's only an hour and a half drive away, like, it was just such a huge leap because, we knew our market, we knew our area. But like, the idea of going into a completely different market, we didn't know what to expect. But yeah, I mean, it was well received as it usually is because of all the love that we put into it and all the effort. We work very hard and it shows. And yeah, I have very fond memories of opening San Antonio and Houston, and then Dallas, and then, man, when we made the decision to go to Washington, that was just like, holy moly! Like, we're leaving Texas. This is crazy. Like, someone has to come here every month to make sure everything's going well. And yeah, I couldn't have even imagined just this job that I was like, it sounds cool to have, just to kind of dip my foot into, the management role and see how I do, to it becoming like a full-fledged, career it's an experience in life that's I will never ever regret because it's shown me so much. You've shown me so much. It's helped me grow as a person a lot. And so yeah, from being the little assistant manager part time to where I am now, it's not even about the title. It's about everything that I've experienced, I've learned, and I try to pass on to my managers and their employees. I work alongside with them. I don't just go and tell them like, hey, fix this. Hey, make this look better. Hey, sell this much stuff. No, I go to conventions and I work alongside them and I help promote Game Over. And in the stores, whenever staffing situations happen, like, people get sick, I will work a store with them. There's definitely no shame in that at all. And for me, it's a privilege, and it's something that I think really, really matters. And so yeah, that's the beginning of Game Over. That's where I am now. Yeah, it's been great.
Well, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a roller coaster. Yeah, and not a lot of people have this option. I mean, it's really something. Even myself, I never really worked for a small business. And seeing all that, I know you worked for a small business, before, but it's so interesting, I think, to work for a company the size of Game Over, because I've worked for EB Games, I've worked for Target, I've worked for a lot of big chain type companies. But like Tien said, working for a small business, it's totally different. You get to actually go along for the ride with the every new twist and turn that comes up. Everything's happening for the first time. And so there's a lot of things to figure out as we go. And so, Tien and I basically have gotten to set a lot of the Game Over rules and standards and trainings and all that kind of stuff. It created from when we had like a problem or we had a situation, we're like, oh, I guess we need to have some kind of rules for that situation. Right. So, like the employee handbook formed organically over time, just with stuff that we would find out. So now a lot of what you do, it's hiring for us, hiring, training, visiting the stores. So what is hiring like? I mean, we talked about Craigslist. Like, it used to be you throw it out on Craigslist and, you get 50 people in days and you would just, pick the best one or whatever. What's hiring like now?
Oh, man. Do we have a couple of hours to talk about this?
It's a little different.
It is. And if anyone just kind of Googles right now, labor situation or labor shortage, you'll be met with very many articles and research about, kind of what's going on. And it's really too much to really go over it all and try to analyze and dive into. Yeah. But kind of the short of it is, because of COVID and everything, like, people had to stop working. And now that things have been opening up, there's a lot of people hiring, but people, for various reasons, aren't ready to go back to work. They're either, not comfortable, like health-wise, or they are in situations where, they have to stay home to take care of family, kids, what have you, or they, just got used to having, all of the extra unemployment benefits and, didn't feel the need to work. And so it's a lot of different things, honestly. So while I understand why we're in the situation that we are, the world is going back to normal, and I think that people haven't quite caught up to that point yet, because the last few months of hiring have been very, very challenging.
Yeah.
It's been extremely slow going as far as like finding candidates and actually having them show up to their interviews, and then even just once someone starts, them realizing something after the fact, after accepting the job, like, oh, this isn't my ideal situation, so I don't want this, and then just say I quit either on the spot or immediately, because like I said, like, the people's mindsets have just kind of been changed, when it comes to work and everything like that, and I do believe that it'll get back to that point, but right now it's just very challenging, and so all in all, like, I think as far as retail places go to work for, I'm a little bit biased, but from the outside looking in, like, Game Over Video Games, I think, is a cool place to work. Our employee retention rate is definitely kind of proof of that. We've had people with the company for 13 years. I have had managers for like 6-7 years. Like, people don't stick around if it's not a worthwhile company run by actually honest, good people. And so nothing's perfect. Again, we all have our flaws, and sometimes there are inefficiencies, that we need to figure out, and all that. But all in all, it's a great place. But I just think in general, people just aren't quite ready to enter the workforce with gusto yet.
Yeah.
And I hope that changes soon, because I mean, truly, again, like, the world is going back to normal. Like, COVID numbers are dropping, and people need to go back to work, because a lot of businesses are suffering. They're literally having to close because they have no staff. That's really sad, to somehow have made it through COVID, which was just a crazy feat in itself for many businesses. But
a lot of them didn't make it through that.
Yeah, and just imagine that feeling of, like, making it, But then like the thing that does you in is like no one wants to work. You can't find any employees. Like that's so sad.
Yes, we made it through. We're back to regular hours. Now there's nobody to work them.
Yeah. And so I implore you, anyone that's looking for work and thinking about work,
we are still hiring.
Yes, we're always.
All that's to say.
Yes, we're always looking for good people. So drop off a resume anytime or apply on the website, gameovervideogames.com. But yeah, just know that there are a lot of people, a lot of businesses that can use help right now, especially small businesses, and it goes a long ways, considering them. But then even just kind of getting out there and going back to work, like all of the stuff that we kind of got acclimated to during COVID, like that's going to disappear, and we can't just wait around and hope for things to go exactly our way. Like you do have to understand that like everyone does need to work, and no job is perfect. But yeah, you go to your job, you work hard, and as long as it's a good, honest company, then yeah, you should feel privileged to work there, and you earn respect. They respect you. That's how it works. And so yes, hiring has definitely been a challenge, but I am putting my faith in humanity and knowing that it's going to turn around because yeah, we've been through just a crazy couple of years, and I think that
definitely
people just they're not quite ready to be back to normal, but it's rapidly approaching, so I hope it gets that way.
Yeah. Well, I know we do still have some openings for like part-time for Christmas type help, part-time help. But yeah, we're really kind of picky when we hire. And but like you said, I think working for a small business, working for something that you love, that you're passionate about, so whether that's video games or anything, just a local restaurant you love and they need help, so you want to just help them out a day a week or something. It really goes pretty far to these people running small businesses they're still suffering, even though times are way better now than it was a year ago. Everybody's suffering. Business is still down. Employees are still, or companies are still short-staffed, and it's tough. It's tough times. So we're all doing the best we can there. So let's get into some less serious topics. So tell me like your most and least favorite parts of this job.
Ooh, man, oh man, what a loaded question.
And again, review time coming up, and you've been doing a really good job of like kissing up this interview.
No pressure. But oh man, my favorite part still is whenever I'm at a store, doing a visit or at an event, and someone comes in for the first time. They discover Game Over Video Games through word of mouth or just, through the internet, a sponsored ad, on their social media feed, whatever, however. And yeah, I can literally see like a wave of nostalgia just kind of like sweep through them, and they just kind of look around and they're like, this place is awesome. Like I'm in my childhood. And as they walk around, just kind of like admiring everything and, just kind of shopping around, like that to me, for, as a gamer, is awesome because I have found one of my own, like another fellow geek. But then also, yeah, as a professional, like, for them to be blown away by the way the store looks, feels, the atmosphere is very important. Like that's why whenever you walk into the store, you hear video game music. Like that's important to us, that feeling that you get. And that's my favorite part, just seeing someone come in for the first time, or even at a convention booth where, sometimes at conventions, people just like, they just have boxes of stuff on a table, and they're just like, here's stuff, have fun, like, good
Give us
luck.
money for that stuff.
Yeah. However much you think you want to pay for it, I'll let you know if that's cool or not. But no, like I spend all day during setup day, making sure the booth looks nice and everything is priced, and it's like a little store. And when people walk by our booth, they're just like, "Whoa, like awesome video game place!" Like, what the heck? That's the best part, 100%.
Yeah.
I love that feeling, and it just reinforces, that we're doing something right, that we still, to this day, 16 years into this company, like we're still making impressions and great impressions.
Yeah.
And you just can't beat that feeling. Least favorite part of the job. Oh man. There aren't very many. But I would currently have to say the amount of traveling I've had to do because of all the hiring. That's been ultra, stressful and a big strain, of course, personally, because I've got a house and I've got, significant other, all my pets and everything. And whenever I have to leave for like a week, that's always kind of rough. And then conventions have started back again. And whenever I have to work a convention, that's my whole commitment, like my work commitment for the entire week.
Pretty much the whole week, yeah.
And whenever I have to travel, work conventions, and have to hire under a kind of challenging environment, like I'm just like never home, and that's always just kind of rough on me personally, on my household. And even on my stores, like when they don't see me, they don't get, it's not they don't get stuff, but like, everything is just kind of delayed a little bit backed up. And so I'm hoping everything stabilizes soon with that. But traveling a little bit less would be nice. But beyond that, there's good and bad parts. That's a very small, thing, compared to all the good, all the joy.
Yeah, for sure. I know, and definitely, a lot of people probably don't realize this. Like when you see Game Over at a convention, you may think, oh, well, that's a cool thing they did last weekend. Like it's just a 2-day commitment.
Right.
But like what Tien's saying is like this. Anytime we go to a Comic-Con or any kind of big event like that, retro gaming show, it's always more than just the 2-day commitment. Because you have to have a day to like pack up the stuff. And then you have a day to set up the stuff, and then a couple days to sell the stuff,
right.
And then you come back and unload and put the stuff back in the store. So it's at least a 4 or 5 day. Mm-hmm. It's a week to do any weekend big time show, not just like a small like one day, but like a normal full size convention or retro gaming event. Like, and so a lot of people may not realize what work goes into it.
Yes. Yeah, they think it's all fun and games. It's like you get to travel around and go to like awesome events.
Yeah,
and
no, it's a challenge.
It's hard work, and yeah, truly, like some of these events have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of attendees, and you're just like constantly talking to people, keeping your energy up, and at the end of the day, you just pour yourself into the hotel room. You're just like, I don't want to interact with another human being for at least 10 hours. It's hard work. It's a lot of fun, truly. But yeah, whenever you do it so much, it definitely starts to really kind of be a drain. Again, once things stabilize and I have to travel less, like I think it should be fine. But a lot of work goes into conventions. So anyone that's just like, why are you complaining? You get to go around to like anime conventions and Comic Cons and gaming cons. Like, there's more to it. It's not all fun and games. Whenever the event is happening and people are coming in, that's cool for sure. But all the logistics that go into it, and the travel and the time commitment and everything else being put on hold, it's a lot.
And the manual labor, unloading and loading vehicles and
that's
grid
how I keep
and
the
shelves.
Guns.
That's right.
That's the only way, right here. Just send me to a convention. Grid is very heavy when you carry more than one panel.
Yes, very. It's a lot of manual labor, a lot of stress, and a lot of time into working events. And I know the ones that I've done, I mean, I always end up losing my voice. Yes. I don't know how you were able to talk all weekend long.
Right.
Just to talk to customers, that you're talking for like 2, 3, 4 days straight, all day talking.
Yep. I do get a little hoarse.
So what's your secret? Like lozenges, Starbucks?
Just doing it a lot. Like my first convention, I remember it was I think Portland Comic-Con, the Wizard World one. And you and I had driven out to it.
Yeah,
that was our very first like convention because we had done like some smaller scale events before, but it was nothing beyond like just setting up a table with some flyers and letting people play some consoles. But like our first selling booth was
a big time. Yeah.
Wizard World Portland Comic-Con. And I remember at the end of that day, I literally just wanted to like cut off my feet because I worked our stores too. I'm no stranger to being on my feet all day long. But like on cement floors and having to basically be in one spot because the booths are pretty small. At least in the stores.
Yeah, in the stores you can kind of move around. You go out on the floor and help people.
Yeah,
and, so you're moving.
Yeah, but
10 by 10.
Yes.
Your little square. You stay in your little square behind your little register, and that's it.
And I remember at the end of that day, my feet were killing me. I could barely talk. But like with like it with everything. As you do it, you kind of
you get used to it.
Yes, but it truly
we make it work.
Yeah, hey, I know where that comes from.
It's our unofficial motto, is we make it work. Because we always say that whenever the shit goes down, we're like, whatever happens, we figure out some way to make it work.
So the customers know our motto as Game Over Video Games. We buy everything from Atari to Xbox.
Yeah.
Sounds nice and fluffy and everyone's happy. David and I's motto is Game Over Video Games. We make it work.
We make it work.
Because behind the scenes, stuff gets broken all the time. And we haven't really even talked about Classic Game Fest at all. But that is another thing that we do together. We plan and organize Classic Game Fest.
We're the main two.
And run it. Sorry. Almost forgot the important part, actually executing it.
Yeah.
And like with Game Over Video Games, Classic Game Fest is a year-long, preparation.
Yeah.
We're always constantly, just thinking about things that we can do, to get it ready, to make it better, and then actually running the thing is, oh my goodness, just insane. And even though we've done it for
14
so yeah,
14
like
years,
over a decade of doing Classic Game Fest, it's evolved a lot as well. But we always run into stuff. There's always some sort of fire that comes up, like like power not being provided to like a vendor, or someone just literally just dropping a Coke on the ground, or vendors coming in under the influence of something. Like things happen.
That doesn't happen much.
It doesn't happen much, but like,
but it has happened before.
and that's what I mean. It's just like whenever these things happen, our job is to not freak out, because that's kind of a sign of a leader right there. It's like you got to be the person that you might not have all the answers immediately, but you you absolutely cannot just be like, all right, I don't know what to do, or like I don't know what to do. And you'd be all right, hold on, like let's think about this for a second, and then you figure out the best course of action. Like we do that all the time, with Game Over and with Classic Game Fest, and it's very challenging, very mentally stimulating. And yet very stressful. I mean, they're just they're definitely things that that weigh on us as far as like problems and the potential solutions to them, and they're not always fantastic. Like not everyone wins all the time, but ultimately we make the calls as best we can. We explain it, and we're transparent and upfront about it. And from there, like that's how it has to be. Like someone has to make a call, and so that's why that's our unofficial motto. And many a times we've joked about it, but that truly is what we do. And it's hard. It's not for everyone, because like I said, there are some people that just they can't handle like extreme pressure, extreme stress, and just kind of crack. And we can't be those people. And so, Game Over Video Games, we make it work.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a important trait of leadership is being flexible and adaptable. Because stuff's going to go wrong no matter what job. Certainly a Game Over or a small business, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's very little people that actually are working there to try and fix them. And so you constantly have to be thinking on your feet, fast solutions, things that are maybe outside the box ways to fix a problem. And then sometimes, like I said last week on the show, I was saying, you can't be everybody's friend, because sometimes you have to make a decision, and there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like something. I mean, people complain about everything, even something that's objectively great. You're going to have, especially online, you're going to have haters, you're going to have doubters. But you make a choice, you go with it, you do the best that you can, be transparent, and then you just roll with it. Hey there, Retro Gamers. We are back with Level 4, the boss battles, and we'll be coming back to the rest of that interview with Tien Phan next week on the show. So stay tuned for that. It was a great interview. We'll talk about likes, dislikes on the job, tattoos, all kinds of fun stuff. So now in the boss battles this week, email overload. I know I mentioned last week on the show that I went out of town for a few days, came back and was greeted by a stuffed mailbox with bills and stuff, and a stuffed email box with over 400 emails. And for anybody that runs a small business where a lot of those emails kind of feed to your account, You can probably relate to this story when you go away for a couple of days and there's nobody else to check those emails and delete them or file them or respond to them. They just pile up. And so, yeah, it was kind of nuts, really coming back to that. But on average, I think I get about 100 emails a day. Not all of them are urgent, of course. There's spam and there's easy things to kind of delete or move past, but it's still a lot. And if you let it pile up, it just gets to be kind of unbearable sometimes. So I thought for the boss battle this week, what I would do is tell you some of my tips that I use to keep that under control, that beast, the email beast, under control. So this is what I do. So for me, with email, I break it into 3 different parts. I've got the easy ones, the medium ones, and the high level ones. So my process is, the first thing of the day, especially coming in Monday morning from a long weekend, is I'll do the first pass. So just start at the top, go all the way down through my inbox, and specifically I look for the junk mail, spam, crap, things that just don't matter at all. Just the easy ones I can just delete. Or ones that I can file away quickly, where I'm getting just like a notification of a deposit in our account or a notification of a order being placed on the web store, things like that, that I can just be like, okay, fine, and then file it away very fast. So I'll go all the way through. So if you got 400 or 500 emails, you just scroll down, take care of those easy ones first. Doing that, you can normally get about half of them gone, maybe more. But at least that's easy. Get that done. Then the second pass, you do quick responses. So those are the ones that you can respond to relatively quickly. I like to always try and respond to emails internally from other Game Over employees or things that people are asking for my feedback on. And at the very least, I'll say something like got it, thanks, or no problem. Some kind of really quick couple of words, but that way they know that I got it. They know that I saw it and read that email, and but no more is really required than that. Just letting them know that you got the message is really all you need to do. So quick responses, go through and do all those. All the way through the inbox, and then once you've done the first pass on the junk, the second pass on the medium level, like really quick responses or easy to kind of file away into your folders in your email process, that should get through most of them. That probably gets through 70-80% of the emails. And then you go on to the higher level stuff, and that's the ones that really require you to investigate. You have to look into like a customer service issue or a return item or anything that needs more detailed feedback and analysis on it, and then address those. As the more urgent they are, the sooner you want to address them. But then you do those when you've already gotten rid of kind of all the fluff in the beginning, and you get down to really just the emails that matter the most, and then you can do those on their own. You do want to try and respond to those once a day, though. So if you don't have time to do the 1, 2, 3 approach, then you kind of do it the reverse way, and you specifically just go down the whole 400 or 500 emails or whatever, looking specifically for the stuff that's the high-level emails, looking for the ones that need a response and a detailed response, and you do those first, and just leave all that low and middle ground stuff for the next time you come in, and then you purge the other direction. But that's how I do it. I'm sure all of you have different ways of kind of sorting through your email inboxes, and no matter what job you have, or even just as a personal email account, you're going to get a lot of just junk email, crap, easy stuff to delete. But definitely take advantage of the folder capability in your email box too. Set up some folders where you can just file things away and then reference them later. That always helps too. So anyway, that's it. So kind of a short one this week on the boss battles, but that's how I manage my mountain of emails. So now we're going to go into the bonus level with some fan feedback. We're getting some regular comments and questions and feedback now on the various channels where this podcast airs, mostly on YouTube or Facebook, but we try and keep track of all those. If you ever want to specifically reach out and make sure that I see a comment or a question on the show, you can email podcast@gameovervideogames.com. Those emails all go to me. I will see it. And, we try and see the Facebook comments and the YouTube comments and all that stuff too. I'm not as active on social media as some other people, so I normally see those, but it may not see all of them, but if you want to email it to me, then I will definitely see it for sure. But the feedback from a lot of this is from the YouTube channel that we've gotten lately. Again, great feedback, people loving the show, and that's awesome to hear. So thank you so much for listening and watching every week and dealing with me and my imperfections in doing this. But I'm definitely getting more comfortable and enjoying it more every week that goes on. So thanks for sticking with us. So one of the comments asking about robberies in the stores. Do we ever get robbed? And sadly, yes, we do. I mentioned this, I think, on the first show, that we have 12 locations now, retail locations, and we've been in business 16 years, and we've probably been broken into, overnight, broken into 50-ish times. I don't know. There's some stores we have in the company that have never been broken into ever. And there's some stores in the company that have been broken into more than enough times. But it's impossible to predict. It's just something it's a sad, just reality of doing business. And, statement on society that there's always people out there that are just going to do that to try and make a quick buck, or, not realizing the cost and the implications that the small businesses have to endure to deal with that, cleanup and recovery. But, but it does happen, happens a lot. Very rarely does it ever happen during business hours. We have had a couple of times where people were robbed in the store working there, but that's, I want to say that's only been twice in the 16 years. So it's, not a very common thing in the daytime. Normally the people that do that, they do it in the middle of the night, and it's in and out pretty quickly, and they're trying to just, I guess just grab a quick make a quick buck, and we don't keep a ton of money in the store. Obviously it's all old video games, so they're normally worth the most to us or other collectors like us. So a lot of times I think they're disappointed when they break in, honestly, that it's not a GameStop and there's not like stacks of PS5s in the store. Like, there's not. It's it's a more curated retro, obviously mix in our stores. So it's a lot of times not what I think they're wanting when they break into a game store. Then let's see, we've got some other comments here. Somebody suggested HDMI cables for the Genesis and Master System. We talked about that system last week. We mentioned Genesis and Master System last week, actually, and there are HDMI cables available now. There's a lot of different brands that make them, and if you can get HDMI cables for an older system, that's definitely the way to go. We also have in Game Over stores, we have a universal AV to HDMI adapter. It's just like a little box. It's $20. But basically it has the red, white, and yellow circles on there, and you can plug your standard AV cables from an old console into it. And on the other end, it has an HDMI port, and you can plug that into your TV. And so what that does is allow any of the older consoles to go onto an HD TV. They look better, it increases the resolution, and it's definitely the way to play an old system is on original hardware, but using, say, an HDMI cable type upgrade to put it on your current TV. Or just have an old TV around the house. If you have one of those big tube TVs, that's even better. So thanks for the suggestion on the cables there. Somebody commented on my co-host and being so quiet. And yeah, Rob, eventually he's going to come out of his shell. But right now, he's still a little shy, and that's okay. He has the microphone, so just in case he has any comments to add, he certainly can. But I think most times he's just comfortable just hanging out with me and just being my moral support. And, that's great. We appreciate having him on the show. So be patient. Maybe he'll come out of his shell later. Brett Weiss gave us a shout out. So thanks for saying hi, Brett Weiss. And we mentioned that he was going to KorgsCon last week. And so, according to what I've seen on social media, it sounds like it was a great show and he had a great time out there. There's a lot of hate in social media world, and YouTubers and Twitch streamers and stuff like that. The more negative and the more extreme gets the most views, and Brett Weiss is one of those guys that doesn't do that. So he's a nice guy. His videos are nice, and so he may not get the views that some of the other jerks on YouTube get. But I'd take somebody who's nice and genuine and a good person like Brett Weiss over a lot of those other guys any day of the week. So you keep being you, Brett Weiss. You're awesome. Let's see. Somebody talked about the Nintendo 64 copy of Zelda Ocarina of Time being worth, $75. We were talking last week about how the Switch Online system How, in my opinion, $4 plus a month is really a small price to pay, because some of these, games alone are $50, and you're going to get $50 for a year of playing lots of those good games. So, it's just one of those things that puts it in perspective that, he's saying just what I was saying last week too, that, it's, if you know how much that stuff is worth, especially retail prices now, you really can't fault Nintendo for wanting $50 a year to play them. It's not a bad deal. Also, we had a comment about the Nintendo. Actually, the same person, I believe, commented that he was looking for the 4-player adapter for the NES. And I'm not sure a lot of you even know about this. There were 2 4-player adapters for the NES. They had the satellite that came out. It was an infrared adapter. So you could plug 4 controllers into it, and then it had a little sensor you'd plug in the Nintendo. And it was old school. So you'd have to it was wireless, but you had to have them really close. I'll have to get one of those on the show and show you sometime. But then they came out with a 4-score adapter, which was corded, that had 4 ports, and then it was just a plug. It looked like your normal multi-tap from Sega Genesis or TurboGrafx or something like that. But those adapters are out there. They're kind of hard to find these days. And, he was saying that there's a few games that he really wants to play on that 4-player NES setup. And so I was curious, like, how many 4-player games there were for NES. Because I started, like, brainstorming, some of them. There was NES Play Action Football, like Nightmare on Elm Street, let's see, King of the Beach, Volleyball. Bomberman. What'd you say?
Bomberman.
Bomberman 2, I think, had the 4-player, yeah. But even I, like, just brainstorming without cheating, was having a hard time coming up with, like, more than, like, 5 or 10 games that used it. So I looked on Wikipedia, and apparently there's, like, 25 games that used that. So who knew? But if you have one of those 4-player adapters and you have your Nintendo, and I'm sure you have lots of extra controllers around the house, go to Wikipedia and look up 4-player games for NES and see if you have any of those 25 games, and try and set it up and play them, because to me the best gaming is couch co-op. It's not playing by yourself. It's not playing online. It's having people in the room with you playing the game together. 4-player couch co-op is awesome. So I highly recommend people looking into that. And if you have the adapters and the consoles and the games, check it out. And the friends, because you need 3 other people, I guess. So you need some friends. So that's a lot of fun. Also, we had a comment about the tips and tricks when we were going into the Master System kind of tricks and setup parts last week, the things we mentioned about the Master System. So they really like that. And I hope to bring that back from time to time. We can't do it every week, but from time to time we'll have different consoles, different setups. Maybe the 4-player NES. We'll get that on here sometime and demo that. So thanks for the feedback on that. And again, we really are so grateful for you watching this show. I know that I'm new at it, not the greatest. It's a very small kind of basic setup. And a lot of it's obviously part retro gaming, and we're highly rooted in retro gaming community here at Game Over. But it's also a chance for you to see kind of behind the scenes and see, people like me, like Tien, like other people that are working at Game Over, fans, customers. We're going to have, other special guests on the show down the road. And it's a chance for you to kind of see behind the scenes. Like if you like Game Over, or you like the idea of running a small business, or you run a small business yourself, it's a chance for you to see like behind the scenes of what it's like, running specifically Game Over and the kind of stuff we deal with on a daily basis. So I'm glad you're liking the new format. And I'm hearing a lot of buzzing. I think the store here is open, because the studio's in the back of the store in North Austin. So I think we are open for business, and the doors are opening now. Thank you for the support. Really appreciate it. Please, like and subscribe and share and comment and do all that good social media stuff that we love. We really appreciate it. And have a great week. Be safe for Halloween this weekend. Have fun, but wear your mask. Be safe, get vaccinated. So everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next week with part 2 of the interview with Tien Phan, and lots of other cool stuff and news coming up. Have a great weekend, and Game Over.
Okay, so So the Band-Aid.
So what do you think it is, Dan? What do you think it was on my ear?
Did you get a bee sting or something?
Not a bee sting, no.
And you didn't get in a fight?
No. I got in a fight and all they hurt was my ear.
Unless they're dead.
My whole face is fine, but they hurt me there.
What else? Did you get a piercing?
Piercing gone awry. That's a good guess, but no.
Tattoo?
Yeah, I was trying to get a tattoo on my ear, and it went horribly, horribly wrong.
It's a weird place to start.
It is. It's apparently very sensitive skin up there.
Yeah.
On the ear.
Man, I think what else. I mean, the other thing I think of is like a growth or a sty or a zit.
A zit? Yeah, that's a good guess.
Something like that.
Like I cut myself shaving my ear hair off, and
well, yeah, you do have very hairy ears.
I do.
So
it's another old timer thing. Like the older you get, kids, like you lose the hair up here, and you get it everywhere else.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's get the true story of the year.
All right, so now I'm going to tell you the true story of the year. So I've been to a dermatologist and had a questionable, like mole skin situation on my ear that they took a sample of to see, what it is, and it's just one of those things that like old timers like me have to deal with. Sometimes I have a history of skin cancer in my family, and so I go see a dermatologist once a year, and if they see anything weird, it's just something they have to check out. So I'm fine, and I hope I'm fine. Still. But yeah, they had to take a chunk out of my ear, and I will tell you that, and there's one on my back too. But I don't know if you've ever had this, and this may be really TMI for a lot of people, especially young watchers. But me and my peeps who are like 40s and above can probably relate to this. Like, when they do that, they give you a little, like if you have a mole or whatever, they give you, I'll do it out here just to kind of show, like they give you a shot to numb the area first, and then they'll cut off the mole or the questionable, skin area just to see, so they can test it and see if, it's cancerous or whatever. So they did this shot on my back, and getting the shot of Novocaine or whatever it is, lidocaine, I think, it doesn't feel good. It kind of burns when it goes in, but it wasn't so bad on my back. But I must say that on my ear, that hurt like a motherfucker. That thing was like the worst shot that I've ever had in my life. And I'm sorry, but I said the F word in the dermatologist's office. I said it now. I was like, it was just the worst. And it was just like fire being like force fed into my ear. And that's before they cut it off, and then they took the sample or whatever. But I couldn't feel the sample because the numbing stuff, it definitely worked. But man, that was very painful. So anyway, long story short, and I'm sure too much information. So I've had a Band-Aid on my ear for like the past week, and luckily, because everybody around here, loves me and probably doesn't want to hear all this information, nobody's asked me like, what happened to your ear?